This is the Preserve the Legacy project, and it is sponsored by all of my patrons who make it possible. But in this intro, you also see the people and companies and gyms who sponsor Preserve the Legacy. So we have Smack Gym, Jae-Soo and family, and Shikara Martial Arts. Bleeding Edge is a new sponsor for us. Awesome. So in the first 30 minutes of this, the visual is going to be a little bit weird. We got a new camera and we're still working with it and trying to figure out how to make it the best. So it doesn't... The movement is a little bit weird for the first 20-30 minutes, but it does work itself out. But the work was too good with Yodkhunpon to not keep it and show everybody, so it's a bonus session. Just put up with the weird movement for a minute. So this is at my gym in Pattaya. This is Pet Rung and working with Yodkhunpon Sittraipum, who's known as the Elbow Hunter. Other sessions with him are in the library, and you can also see him with the on-demand intensive. This position is his favorite for the clinch position. He likes to keep his arm on the outside, which is interesting because it seems to be, for most people, you would think that's not a good position to stay in. It's not the dominant position, but because of that, people will let you leave your hand there, and they're like, oh, well, that's not a problem at all, and then he elbows over it.
Way to be sticky.
This was a difficult session for me. This is our second one in a row, so I came to him yesterday. I'm a little bit tired and flustered. He's turned up the intensity significantly since yesterday. That's his elbow. Jesus. So see how I'm trying to get my right hand on his bicep so that I can do that to come over. But he stays really close, whereas I keep taking space, which means I have to close it back up again. I have a hard time on my way in because I get kicked on the way in. And if you stop, you'll keep getting kicked from that distance. So you have to move through basically the hitting zone to get to the right spot all the time. When I get this little gallop, which I stole from Yodkhunpon, oh, look at him just rip me over. He's like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat with his leg. I caught his leg and he just ripped me towards him. He's like, get over here. So he wants me to keep my hands on his hands all the time. If you keep your gloves on their gloves, you are at what is, for me, the perfect striking range. I don't want to be outside of that because that's kicking range. But I keep pushing him into kicking range by not following him after I, push him back. See that little step I'm taking back all the time?
Closer, yeah, baby.
And then watch his body. Watch his hips. He does not lose space.
Keep your gallop going so you have no thoughts. Yeah.
There's the gallop, right? So that's how you cover distance and get someone on the defense and keep closing space.
Keep your gallop going.
If I walk in, I'm at hitting range for much longer than if I gallop in like this. And it hides my rhythm. It's like the sandworms from Dune. How you have to walk without a pattern. How the hell do you walk without a pattern? Galloping hides your pattern. And so you can actually strike out of it. Now I'm walking again. And he's just killing me. Oh. But see how if I keep my hands on his hands, I can kind of push past issues. That's his elbow. That's why he smiled at me. Now, once I get him on the ropes, that's when I can really open up. I'm ripping him back off in order to kind of keep him in space, because the people I actually fight just lean on the ropes and they're bigger than me, so they can stay there.
Close is safe.
So Kevin's reminding me that close is safe. Stay closer. There we go. I keep stopping after that left knee. If I didn't stop, if I just kept going a little bit with that, I could knock him out in the ropes like that. He's just trying to annoy me with that jab. Trying to get me to move through it. See how it's stymieing me and I'm staying on the porch? But then that gallop got me through a little bit. I cannot express how valuable this kind of work is with a legend like Yodkhunpon. He's putting real, like very real pressure on me. And then when I get that moment just there, I hit him hard enough that it actually backed him up. That's real, and I have to train myself to keep following it. It's not quite baby bear because a lot of this stuff does hurt and the intensity is very difficult to deal with emotionally and mentally, but he has control. Like, he's not going to hurt me. He's throwing real elbows, but he's not going to cut me. So he's kind of talking about how once you get the car rolling, you can keep it going with just staying close to somebody. Yom in Thai means to submit. So he's like, once you get someone going backwards, that's like the car getting rolling, and you don't have to push so hard anymore. So once I get him on the retreat and just defending, then I can kind of slow my pace a little bit and just keep the pressure on him, and he'll fold eventually. I chipped my tooth when he was punching me. I'm having a harder time today than I had the day before because I'm a little bit tired. But this is the thing. What he was just talking to me about Yom and getting the car rolling and just keeping on someone, he's doing that to me, and all I have to do is not give up. And eventually I can get the car rolling in the opposite direction. I know that my opponent's going to get tired before I do. So now he's showing me to not just come straight forward all the time. I'm always pushing him with my gloves. He wants the glove on glove, but not just pushing all the time. So now you do this like windshield wiper, kind of pushing the arms out of the way. He made a big point about not putting a lot of pressure on the arms. It's very gentle. You basically keep your hand on the outside and then pivot off. But you don't want to push the arm, because when you push the arm, it lets the opponent know what you're doing. He and Yodkhunpon and Karahat both really emphasize not pushing, or like when you parry, it's not hard, because you don't want the opponent to know what you're doing. So see how I'm pulsing on his hands? That's kind of a Samson Asan thing. But Yodkhunpon and Karahat don't pulse like that. They very gently step off. See how I was pushing his hands? He's like, don't push, just come over. See how he just moves? He is guiding my hand, but he's not pushing my hand. He just gets his glove to the outside and pivots over. It's so gentle. And then you're right in someone's blind spot. They can't really defend when you go full to the side like this. And it's very unexpected. Oh. He's so explosive. When you're trying to walk on someone, when you're trying to close that distance, and someone's keeping you off like this, not only is that scoring, but it makes it very hard to come in because you keep stopping. So what I have to do is not stop. That's what the gallop helps with. It's not stopping. There we go. Gallop, gallop. Kind of pausing, but here, once I get him in the ropes, those are his elbows. How you like your own stuff, Yodkhunpon? I was trying to go under his arm. He's got me caught. See how he's got my left arm? I slip out, but I didn't bring my left leg back. If I bring my left leg back, he's kicking it to show me. That's how you get power on the knee once you slip over. It's the same thing when you turn someone in the clinch. Your Thai trainers will always yell at you to really bring your leg back, but not too far, because you want power on that knee. So he's saying when you get angry, you just come and grab like with this wide grip. You got to work your way in and then do the slip over instead. I stepped kind of too wide on that rather than back. He's saying to slip under his arm if I can. That was good, but if the leg came back, it would have more power on it. It's one of those things where it's like, what you're doing is fine, but this is better. See how beautiful that one movement was, and it sets him up to have power. Oh. It's a little bit wide, which makes it slow, but the power was good. See, so I need to anticipate him countering, which is fine. Like, let someone hit you back. And when you come after, if I hit his guard, that's all right. It's going to break it eventually. That's one of my favorite things about Yodkhunpon's style, is he's like, go ahead and hit the guard, like break down the door. It's not a mistake to hit someone where they're not open. It creates openings somewhere else. So he's saying to use the first strike as preparation for the next one. So here he's going to show me. So I'm him now. I get on the rope. So he's like, you punch the body, and that's what opens for this. Oh. Oh.
So pretty.
His elbows are the most beautiful thing. He's the elbow hunter of 100 stitches. He's probably the greatest elbow fighter ever. But the beauty of them is just something else. I switched which cross and which elbow I was doing because of his open side there, but it doesn't matter. Like when he's on the ropes, go ahead and hit his close side. It doesn't matter.
Boy, let's step on that.
But he's saying that that cross to the body sets up for the elbow, and don't come back in between them. Oh.
Looks good, baby.
How are you going to protect against both of those, huh?
Oh.
Not. He's countering really good, but if I stay on him, I win. Like if I just keep on him, eventually knocking on all of those closed parts is going to create an opening. Part of his method of training like this is teaching you who's going to quit first, teaching you how not to quit first ever. I just quit. That's why I lose. So he wants me to keep my guard. He wants me to keep my guard in a natural position, but still touch gloves. So when I need to, I can bring the guard up tighter, but you don't leave it that way all the time. It's the same thing of like, you don't block your shin in the air all the time. You bring it up when there's a kick. You keep your arms in a good position 90% of the time, and when you need to bring it up tight, you bring it up tight. It's understanding rhythm. Here my gallop is helping me a little bit. I'm kind of like in and out of it, but when I'm in it, it's really good. There we go. You always have to have that final thing, like when someone's trying to escape out. If you can strike them while they're trying to get out, it changes the story of who's controlling that movement. So he's trying to get me to have better balance on my knees so that you can throw more than one. So he's showing me how you can throw across to the body while someone's trying to knee you. I think I was leaning too far on my cross. I was doing this today, and he told me not to do it in space so much, to do it against the ropes more. So on this day, he's letting me play with it in the middle of the ring, and then each day he just kind of sees corrections of how to make it slightly better. Look at how tight he is in the clinch, how he just kind of coils up. So then he timed that for when I was trying to knee, and he just straightened his arm, almost like throwing a punch, but so that his like forearm hit me on the side and it threw me. So now I'm kind of in between walking and galloping. If I galloped more, I would be able to keep striking and back him up in a way where it's, again, like getting the car rolling, where he can't answer back as easily. It's like arm wrestling. When you're arm wrestling and you start to get someone to go, once you get past that center line, now you can win. But when you're still just like both of you struggling in the middle, it's like who's gonna get the right direction so that they suddenly have the advantage. You're trying to push someone over the center line with this kind of work. So see how when he brings his leg up, I can't knee or kick because he's blocking with his knee. So he's saying you just elbow over it or punch over it. See how his hands are on top of my hands? He wants me to slip over his glove, but gently so that he doesn't feel me getting that advantage. Oi. So see how we're glove to glove and you just slip to the outside or over someone's glove, and then you can throw that elbow. He wants me to feel the rhythm, like feel when his leg comes up in the air and throw the elbow, but I have to be ready to do that all the time. So you're ready all the time by keeping your gloves on their gloves. There we go. I should elbow there. See how I'm trying to like deal with his leg? Don't worry about the leg. Just elbow over it. He's saying put your hand over first. He's literally saying have your hand ride. So my hand rides on top of his hand and I can slip over. But see how he puts his right glove on mine first? Oh. Look at his gloves on top of my gloves. I have to sneak mine to the outside. There we go.
You feel that, baby.
So see how I sneak that in just by getting my hand on top of his? Nobody's feeling that. Like, nobody's thinking about that. I'm trying to get under here, and it didn't work. So you use other rhythms. I keep kneeing, try to get my hand on his bicep for those elbows, and then use the rhythm of these knees to get to a position where I can work to the side or throw another elbow.
Back up, baby. Gotta take it. You gotta just step back. Don't go
So, so we're working on this catching the leg thing. I have this problem where when I catch the leg, I overturn on the side that I caught it.
You're making a bad habit.
Kevin is saying back up, like pull back. That's something that Karahat has me do, is when you catch it, pull back. But Yodkhunpon is so fast
Yeah, but
He's saying don't go backwards because as you're pulling back, I can hit you. Like his balance is really good.
Because lock from here.
You're grabbing his ankle, I'm grabbing up by his
Oh, don't grab there. Grab the
But
ankle.
so Kevin's grabbing Yodkhunpon's ankle. I'm grabbing up by his knee. I cannot grab by his ankle because I'm standing so close. He's kicking me while I'm in my kneeing range.
Catch here then. Don't catch
And
here.
when I catch him up by his knee, he bends his legs so fast. It's that scorpion thing where he's pulling me into it. And I'm overturning, so it makes it easier for him to do.
เตะมาเตะมาแล้วสลับเล่นเรื่องนี้สลับเล่นเตะอย่างเดียวครับ
So the fix we found for this is when I catch the leg, I reach across with my opposite arm. It helps correct because you can't overturn because you're scissoring, like your right arm is going towards your left caught kick. There.
Nice.
And then you can pull him down.
Nice. Man. Yeah, but give it a try. It's good.
And as your arm is across like that, reaching across to grab his neck, you're protecting yourself from his punches. So it's actually, for me, a perfect fix to what my problem was on catching that kick. So I'm in that like kicking range because I'm not galloping through it. I'm galloping and then stopping. There we go. Get back in, get back in. Sometimes like this. There. See how he can yank down on my head with that cross arm? It like folds me. There we go. You can throw elbows from that as well.
Come on, dominant.
เนี่ยอย่าเพราะว่าเวลาเขาเตะถ้าเขาเตะจริงเปล่ามันได้ใจมันจะเบิ้ลเอาล็อกเฟิร์ส
So here I'm trying to add all these things together. I'm still just pushing on his arms too much and not thinking to myself to put my hand on the outside. But that reach across on the caught kick is feeling much more natural. It's more
I
automatic.
think that's the secret.
But this is the thing. If you have a problem with like overturning, if you figure out something you can do from the other side, it will correct what that problem is. So if when you clinch, you're grabbing and turning sideways, figure out something to throw from the opposite side that's going to correct that overturn. We go for like 15 or 20 minutes at a shot without really stopping for water or anything, which is pretty incredible because it's really intense work. And Yodkhunpon is always telling me, he's like, a round is 2 or 3 minutes. You can do this for 2 or 3 minutes. Just fucking go. I have cornermen who tell me, like in round 3 or round 4, they're like 2 minutes, just go. Like you can win an entire fight by just doing this for 2 or 3 minutes, however long your round is. And I'm doing it for like 20. I love how he teaches. He thinks like as we're doing things, and then he has to like consider what he's showing me. He's trying to show me what to do with a high kick. Girls really do love trying to kick me in the head, and I block it okay. But he wants me to not only block it, but catch it. He's like, if you're trying to lock the kick all the time, catching it in the middle, people are then going to kick your head because you're bringing your leg down, or you're bringing your arm down to catch it. So you squat just a little bit to catch the head kick, and then as you stand up, it throws them backwards. He says it hurts the opponent. It like puts them into a split and nobody can stay upright. So that was blocked. That happens in my fights, and I block it. But it's still a point to my opponent. It's not as much as like a head kick, because it's hitting the arm, but it still counts. So if you catch it, throw that shit backwards. Who looks better now? He's saying if you leave your head up, if you leave your arm up for the high kick too much, it leaves your body open. If you're catching the body kicks all the time, it leaves your head open. So you basically have to understand and feel which one is coming and be able to deal with both. Oh. That was just feeling right there. We got slightly pissed Sylvie going right now. I do much better when I'm slightly angry. That's his elbow. It's so pretty. Can't get out. He was surprised he couldn't get out. He totally thought he was going to pop out. So he's saying when someone tries to come out like that and you've caught them and they can't get out, when you're sticky, use that opportunity because they've created all that space to throw a knee right down the middle. Oh, and follow. That's what was missing previously when we were working on that.
It looks so good.
Yeah, I have to not think about what he's throwing and just respond.
So this is the thing. If I try to see is that a head kick or a middle kick, I'll miss it for sure. But if you just feel it, it's like you just kind of know instinctually, like your body knows. Just trust it and go. So see how he even just he crouches down just slightly to catch that head kick, and then when he stands up, the opponent goes flying. Look at that position he takes in the clinch. So pretty. So I'm actually trying to, what do you call it, lock? I'm trying to lock less in the clinch. I have a really good lock and I can score out of it, but it tends to stagnate, like the energy comes back down and then the referee will come and break it. So a lot of what he's showing me right here, where you keep your arm on the outside and the knees and elbows work together like this is not locking. This is continuing to move. He liked that one. So there, as he's bringing his knees up in defense, Karahat has shown me many times that when someone's on one leg like that, there's an opening. So rather than being distracted by the leg being in the air to stop your knees, you see that they're vulnerable in that position. The gallop helps you stay close and stay on someone, and keeping your hands on their gloves helps you stay in a range that you can keep punishing them when they're trying to defend like that. Yodkhunpon said to me several times today, nobody can block everywhere. So here he's talking about how if you're fighting like a female fighter who has lots of evasive technique and they're kicking you while you're trying to close in, they have power in rounds 1 and 2. But if they've been defending rounds 1 and 2 and you're on them like this, they get tired. Rounds 3 and 4, they don't have power to keep you off anymore. He's like, you don't even have to fight 5 rounds. Knock out round 3 or 4. So he's stagnating me, but if I stay close, I can keep solving that problem. If I pop back out, it doesn't solve anything, and I have to keep solving the same problem instead of staying in close and like creating different openings. There we go. So this is why locking is something I need to fix. See how I got kind of stagnant for like a minute there? And then once I stopped trying to lock and kept moving, that's when I... Yom yom. That's when I knocked him out.
Maybe you had inside position, you went to outside.
I knew he was going to throw me.
So I was trying to put my arm to the inside, which is automatic for me. I know that when I go inside, he throws me, he pushes me off. So instead of going inside, I kept my arm outside, which is Yodkhunpon style, to elbow over it.
not โมโหครับ
Moho means like angry. He's like, don't be angry and grab. Stay calm and outside and keep throwing elbows.
แล้วก็เอาซ้ายออกมาข้างนอก
Outside, outside.
ปั๊บคือว่าแต่เขามวยเข่านะเหมือนทีวีมวยเข่าอ่ะทีวีมวยเข่าทีวีจะเดินมาจับผม
He's like, so Sylvie, play Muay Khao. I'm like, I am Muay Khao.
ผมไม่มีเตะไม่มีแทงด้วยทีวีเดินมา
He's saying if you're Muay Khao, you can't just walk in and grab. That's not actually doing anything. You have to, on your way in, throw elbows and knees working together. See how he's frustrating me by just switching sides all the time?
ผมก่อนเกิดถ้าตรงนี้ผมไม่ได้เอาแข็งแรงนี่จับถึงกลาง
So he's saying, he's telling me to be strong, to like try to fluster him with strength. And he just switches sides because no matter what you're doing on one side, you're open on the other. That's how it works. Oh.
เหมือนกันลักษณะเดียวกันแต่ถ้าครับมาครับทางนี้ไม่ได้ผมเปลี่ยนเลยนะผมเปลี่ยนเลยเนี่ยเปลี่ยนเลย
So Leon means to change. So he's saying that when the opponent keeps trying to move out or find their opening, you just keep switching sides. You change with them. If you lock, you solve that one thing. If you don't lock and you keep changing, switch back and forth, you keep moving and it's kind of frustrating. He throws that elbow the very second I grab him. Madongro, I'm saying, means don't have to wait. The second they grab you, you can throw that elbow. They're open already. Oi, don't wait. Oi, don't wait. You have to feel it. Like he's teaching me right now, but you have to feel it. You have to have those interactions over and over again of when someone grabs you, feeling how that elbow just goes automatically. So he's showing me how the way that I just kneed left me open for an elbow. So he's saying if you knee really long, you don't have to worry about that counter. See how far away he was? But he reaches out to guard up top at the same time. Oh, Tang Yao Yao means like if you're gonna knee, do it from far. You can do it close too, but he's guarding as he comes in. Longer. So I'm having this problem of timing that I figured out in this session, which is that I'm trying to reach and knee at the same time. You reach across, grab the head, and then knee. It's a split second difference. Just slightly before the knee comes, you've locked with your hand. You can't go same time though. If you go same time, you take the power out of your kick, or out of your knee. Oh. I wish you guys could feel what that feels like when he grabs my head, because he's not doing it super hard. It's like he just kind of latches on like a fish hook or like a trailer or something. He's not even pulling on it, but you feel like you have no escape, and he kind of guides you into his knee. It feels horrifying. So he's showing why you reach across like that is because if the opponent tries to hit you at the same time you're coming in, you're guarded on both sides. So the grab not only makes the knee better, but it guards you from their counter. So I've been doing the long swan 1000, so I'm kneeing the corner of the ring at times when all the bags are used up, and he will come and show me how he wants the knees to come wider and go higher. And so I'm saying to him, it's the same as what you've been showing me in the corner of the ring, and he's like 100%. He's saying the hands help with the power of the knee. But again, I have not figured out that you latch first yet. There we go, a little bit.
คือว่าถ้าเราไม่แตะเราจะเดินเข้าไปแทงมันจะออกมาท่านี้มันจะมาท่านี้ง่ายๆเลยซิลวี่นี่ก็เห็น
There we go.
You feel that?
Also, reaching across keeps your body in so that you're not leaning back. Yodkhunpon was the first teacher to explicitly tell me don't lean back when you knee. When you reach across like that, you can't lean back because you've like latched yourself onto the head. It's little leg skip. So he's saying if you elbow first, you open for that knee. The elbow opens that knee. Oh. Elbow and knee work together. Look at how he like climbs into that position. He uses his front hand to push their front hand down and then latches on with the back hand. It's like he's climbing a ladder.
Goddamn trailer hitch.
There we go. Latch first. I'm trying to bring my leg around, and I bring my butt back first, so I'm actually not pulling him with me. If I kept my hips in... That's going through the belly pad. This is why technique is important, is you don't have to put more effort in, but the effect is greater anyway. Oy. Oh. Oh. Those are so great because even if you don't land it the way you want it to, it terrifies him and he's going to put his hips back to protect his head, and then you can knee. And then once you knee him, he's going to pop up to protect his body and you can elbow.
Gallop, baby,
It's the
gallop.
whack-a-mole game. Again, his style is like it does not matter if your first elbow hits guard. It doesn't matter if you don't get an opening. You're creating openings and you're draining your opponent with this repeated like... Not quite the reach across, but the same concept where you come with the opposite side to correct the overturn. He said that was a foul because I took too many steps. So I'm saying that I have to calm down a little bit in order to be able to do the things that I'm doing right now in a fight. There's this thing in Thai, they call it Muay. Muay means like unclear, undistinct, like kind of cloudy. It's not quite what we say in English to be a brawler, but it's like you look rushed and it kind of like blurs your movements together. Whereas if I calm down a little bit and make each one of my strikes distinct, it looks so much better. That's why when you look at like a Yod Muay, or if you look at Sanchai, or you look at a great fighter, everything they throw is so beautiful and distinct. It's because their pace is pulled down just a little bit to make everything distinct. That's what I do. He's making fun of me. He's making fun of me. Oh! Look at his position. Look at his right hand. How it just rests. It just rests on my bicep. So he's locking me and showing me how if you're locked, you can still get out of that position. So if my opponent locks me, trying to like keep me from moving and get the ref to come break us, this is how I should answer that. I want to keep them slightly off. Oh, oh. I still have this habit of pushing. Like I push on the hands. Oh. He says play like this. Like when you're clinching, play like this. So I explained to him, I'm like, the people who you clinch with in a gym are not Yodmuay. And a lot of people, when they're clinching, they don't clinch the way you clinch in a fight. Their entrance is just this weird, like, floppy hand thing. He lowers his voice. He's like, I see this all the time and I don't say anything. He's like, I can't say anything. But this is the thing. When you're practicing clinch, people often separate. Sparring is one thing, clinching is another, and you don't blend them together. So you end up not practicing your clinch entrance in a way that's realistic to fighting. So he's showing me that when I'm clinching, I have to use clinch entry like this, that's using elbows and like stepping to the side rather than just like grabbing the arms all the time. So he's saying when I bring my leg back to try to knee, he's going to interrupt me or he can knee also. See how when I step back he knees already? So that's why the elbow comes in. The elbow opens up for the knee you want to throw rather than just stepping back to knee, because they can knee too. If you elbow first, they're totally dealing with that while you throw your knee. Oh, do you see how hard he hitched that? He's not messing around. So there, I'm messing with trying to get to inside position, which, according to Yodkhunpon style, you do not have to do. See how I keep pushing his wrists? Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm trying to slip over, but I'm like holding his hands. And he feels it. He's like, quit grabbing. You can't grab when you're wearing gloves. So you make your hands into like flippers. Make them into hooks. You can't do this. So just make your hands into little hooks and then use that to like kind of push things out of the way, but don't grab anything. Oh. It's interesting because these are clinch practice knees. He jabbed me in the eye. It's okay. My eye was closed. It didn't go in. But these are practice knees where you like hit with the fleshy part of your thigh. What's interesting about this is that when Yodkhunpon does it, it still hurts. Like, I have trainers who hate that I throw these side knees in fights because they're like, you need to throw a straight knee because it hurts more and it scores higher. That's true, it scores higher. But Yodkhunpon's knees from super, super close, they hurt, man. Like, my ribs and back hurt from this training. It's the same thing of hitting the guard. You can use those to tire your opponent out and then use the straight knees to really score and knock them out. So he's saying elbow first to open up for that kick. He's like, when they move, that's when you throw that kick. You're forcing them backwards. Oh, gum. So I throw the elbow and he gum. That means to like hunch or like lean over. So the elbow forces him to curve himself and then you throw into the center of his body because it's unprotected. Nobody can block everywhere. Oh, God. He's doing that slow to like show me. He doesn't do it much faster than that in real life. Like, you keep a nice steady pace and it's just unending.
ลาเขาทำนี่มีลูกแก้อยู่ ไม่นะแบบว่าซินดี้เข้ามาคว้าแทงอย่างเดียวเวลาแทงเขาปั๊บ
Oh, see how he like pushes me with his forearm when I come to knee?
มันก็โดนอยู่ดีอ่ะ
So he's like, if someone is gonna knee you, you can't necessarily step back to get out of the way, but you can chon, like you can actually step towards them and shove them
เพราะว่าแทงไป
with your forearm as a protection.
ปั๊บแทงตัวนี้จะผลักออกเลยรู้ว่าแบบ
He's
ก็โดน
pushing.
อยู่ดีอ่ะ
You're still gonna get hit by the knee, but it dissipates the power by quite a lot.
แต่แล้วปั๊บมาเลยปั๊บ
It's the same thing when someone kicks you. If you step towards them, it takes a lot of the power out.
แทงเขาไม่ได้ช่วยตลอดนะซินดี้แทงนะปั๊บ
Oh,
จะได้เตือนตัวเองได้ไงมันสำคัญไงเพราะแทงอย่างเดียวนะแทงอย่างเดียว
so here he's showing me how it's the same effect, that if he's trying to punch me and I hit him with my knee first, it dissipates the power of his punch. So what he was just telling me about using his forearm to shove me off while I'm trying to knee, now my knee is killing the power on his punch. Go ahead and punch. Like, you're getting
มือ
jammed
ออกเร็ว
by the knee first.
มือปล่อยเร็วคว้ามาปั๊บอย่าเพิ่งปล่อยดิปั๊บ
And if I grab the back of his head, I'm protecting from that punch too. I'm ripping my arm down as I'm kneeing, which means I'm effectively taking away that guard. It's a habit. A lot of people, when they knee, they throw their arms down. I've been trying to stop doing this for a really long time. It's hard to like get rid of old habits. But this is one of the reasons why you don't want to do that. If I leave my hand up, it's protecting me. But one of the reasons it's falling is because I'm not properly gripping him. Oh, he's actually hitting me so hard.
Nice, dude. Nice.
See how I have to stay in? If I stay in on those punches, I can keep countering him. If I back up every time he hits me, I'm actually more susceptible to his next strike. It looks bad, and it's bad for me. In.
Keep galloping. Gallop.
ไม่ออกโดนนะ
You're doing good.
He's not gonna stop. You have to make them stop.
เรามาคิดมานั่นนี่เฉยๆว่าเวลาจริงๆอ่ะเวลาต่อยมาเนี่ยตั้งไว้ตั้งมืออยู่แค่นี้แค่ปั๊บแค่เนี้ย
Oh.
มือนี่อยู่เฉยๆเนี่ยพอต่อยมาแขนปั๊บ
That wasn't even hard, but it was so
โอ้
awful.
นิดหน่อย
He's like, that wasn't hard.
ซินดี้เวลาการเนี่ยการปั๊บนี่การนะการซ้ายนะกระแทงซ้ายเวลาเขาต่อยมาเนี่ยมือนี่ทับไปเฉยๆเนี่ยมาขวามาปั๊บ
So see how when he comes to punch me, my right arm guards, and then my left arm reaches out. It's the same as that climb, but the climb is where you kind of like parry the front arm and then reach with your left. This one, you're keeping your right arm really close to block and then reaching with your left. I was having a hard time with it, and so I ended up grabbing with my right hand instead. And when I do that, I drop my left hand, which definitely is how I've been elbowed in numerous fights. So getting my arms to coordinate for this knee is a big pressure point for me. Like, it's something that I really need to focus on, and I've been doing it on the bag to like feel the timing and
มัน
rhythm.
จะไปของมันเลยนะปั๊บปั๊บปั๊บปั๊บปั๊บปั๊บ
So he's showing me the timing he wants.
ไม่ผิดปั๊บ
So it's almost simultaneous. You block and grab. You're like meeting their punch almost at the same time. Oi.
Nice. Gallop, baby.
So I'm kind of creeping right now, but my stance is pretty good. If I just kind of galloped in and closed that distance faster, it would be more of a like chon, like meeting his punch so that I could grab him at the same time. There's a slight delay because of what I'm doing with my feet.
ผมหลงผมไม่เอา
He said that was a knockout.
เอาให้แทงให้มันแน่นๆก่อนแทงให้มันแน่นๆก่อน
There, I'm starting to gallop a little bit.
Yes, gallop. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
See how it's even in space a little bit? Like I'm not even necessarily gaining ground, but I'm definitely not losing ground. He's gonna tire himself out punching like that.
Yes.
I'm throwing far fewer things, but they're much better. Like each one is far more effective.
That's so good.
เอากินน้ำก่อนนะ
Those games are super, super important for training yourself to be able to be calm under pressure, lower your heart rate under pressure, and answer under pressure. If someone is hitting you like that, and you're just going to kind of guard up and wait for an opening, you get hit a lot. But if you're going to create the opening by like meeting their power, you can stop them.
ไม่แต่จะโดนน็อกเลย
So I'm leaning back too much. I can feel like I need to kind of be more upright.
เนี่ย
If I just tuck my chin, I can't lean back.
เดินด้วยสวยกว่าเดิมด้วยเวลาโดนเขาตบไม่เอียงด้วยตบแรงก็ไม่เอียงนะ
So he's saying answer with power,
ไม่เอียง
right? So if I knee him hard, he doesn't want to throw anything back, really.
เฮ้ย
See how I have to kind of like not be interrupted by those hooks and jabs?
ไม่เอาจังหวะนี้ไง
He's saying that when I gallop, he can't figure out my rhythm.
จังหวะเดียวเลยยืนให้สวยยืนไว้ให้สวยยืนกาดไว้ให้สวย
So he wants me to be more beautiful on that knee, like more sure. I'm kind of throwing it, like trying to Hail Mary it a little bit. If I just calm down a little bit with the rhythm, that works.
ผมต่อยไม่ได้ท้าเขาต่อยไม่ได้
He's like, when you hit me in the middle, I can't punch you back. It distorts him to hit him in the middle like that. So there's no power on his punch. So even if he throws it, my knee is landing much better. I'm overturning on my knee. He's going to correct it here. Look at his right foot. See how he's not twisting on it? And then as he lands off of the left knee, he brings his leg back wide. There we go.
คือว่าออกได้3 ที 4 ทีได้ไม่ต้องเบนนะ
When you do this, you can throw more than one. Yodkhunpon has a big thing about doing multiples as a way to calibrate the technique. See how I'm stepping? When I'm landing off of that knee, I'm bringing my left leg behind my right leg. That's why I can't throw again. I need it to be wider. So he can't answer me if I'm pivoting off to the side. So I knee, pivot, knee, pivot. Oh, right in someone's blind spot. Madongrit means like you don't have to rush. You don't have to hurry. Just have good rhythm, like everything at a pace. Oh, look how pretty. He swings around.
He drags me down.
See how his arm, his right arm is like one piece. That's the one that goes on my neck. Oh. He's saying you don't have to lock the neck. What he means is that the hand is actually kind of gentle on the neck. Like you're not putting pressure. You're not tense. But the arm is all one piece. And so as you pivot, if you lock it with just enough tension on the neck, like you're not holding it, but it's just kind of latched on like a trailer hitch, as you swing around, it's going to pull their head down. but to him it doesn't feel like tension. So he says don't lock, because to him, locking feels like tension.
เนี่ยกาดเนี่ยอย่าลืมกาดมาเนี่ยฉี่บนแล้วฟันเลย
Fun play.
เนี่ย
So see how my hand was on top of his hand, so I could just slide my elbow over the top.
ปั๊บโอ้ย
And then it's a little bit overwhelming. Yum.
เข้าใจอีกนิดเดียวแค่นั้นน่ะ
He's saying I understand a little bit better today. Like he can feel that I'm starting to understand the corrections that he's giving me. And he says again, don't use your hands to grab.
มันอยากกำเราให้มันกำเราไม่
Not only can you not do it, but that's not the kind of work you want to be doing. Like you want everything very gentle so that the opponent doesn't feel where you're trying to go. If you float your hands on top, they have no idea that you're about to elbow.
For what? Lock for what? For Thailand.
Golden Age fighters, Muay Thai fighters didn't lock. So just then I was saying
Do all the time.
this to him, and he's like, lock for what? Locking just makes you tired.
โดนสอบหมดน่ะขอให้ติดตัวแต่โดนหมด
He's like, you can't elbow if you're locking.
แต่ผมไม่แตะ
You just get still.
เพราะผมหาเป็นไงพอแตะปั๊บผมปั๊บ
Oh,
หรือถ้า
he's like, I want them to come lock me, because when they reach and grab him, he just throws that elbow.
มองแล้วก็มองเห็นช่องแล้วมุกไปฟัน
Chon. So as they're coming in, he meets them coming in with that elbow.
ดึงลงมามันอยู่ที่ขา
See how his leg comes with it? It's so
เหมือนลัก
long.
ษณะกระทุ้งเหมือนลักษณะกระทุ้ง
Oh,
แต่พลังมันจะมาที่ปลายท้อง
saying the power is right on the end of his elbow.
His spear point.
His elbows in space are just unbelievably beautiful.
ไปเล่นก้อนท้องวันละ300 ใช่ไหมไม่เป็นไรเราขอคืนทีเดียว แต่เวลาล็อกนี่อย่าลืมนะเนี่ย
So he's saying that I forget to take a step over when I catch the leg, which is true, and that makes the kick hurt quite a bit. You have to take that little step over to dissipate. And then he's reminding me about the head kick, how you do this little dip down so that when you stand up and lock it, you're throwing someone back. See how gentle his hands are, though. So that's body kick, and the other one's the head kick.
เราทำอะไรก็ได้ เพราะบางทีมันเร็วนะเราจะไม่มีเวลา เพราะว่าบางที
He's like, you don't have time to think about what you're going to do next. You have to make it automatic.
แล้วตอนเนี้ยไม่กล้าเตะเพราะเจ็บไงโดน
He's like, when you throw someone over like this, it hurts their leg. They don't want to kick anymore.
ไม่กล้า
It's pretty terrifying to be like thrown through the air.
แล้วหมัดอย่างเดียวตานี่หมัดก็ฟันแล้วก็แทงหมัดก็ฟันแล้วก็แทงจบ เพราะเราตัดคำพูดเขาออกหมดแล้วเขาไม่กล้าทำหรอกทินพี่สังเกตดูดิเวลานักมวยเวลาทำอะไรไม่ได้เขาจะไม่ทำเขาจะเปลี่ยนไปอย่างอื่นเข้าใจป่ะถือว่าเวลาเตะก็ติดบังอะไรติดบังไม่เตะ
So he's saying you don't do the same thing every time, right? So if someone is going to kick you, you don't catch it every time. So that when you catch it
เพราะเตะไงก็เตะ
and do something, it's very dynamic.
แต่อย่างทินพี่ถ้าทินพี่ทำเป็นเนี่ยทำแล้วเจ็บด้วยแล้วไม่เอาวิ่งไม่เอาด้วย
If kickers are kickers, all they do is kick. So you take away their weapon, all they have is punches. They're not very good at it. Like they're not.
He's
pulsive
talking
or-
about
That's what Jen did.
if someone likes to kick you and you catch it and throw them or catch it and punish them and they don't want to kick anymore, this totally happens. I've blocked kicks where then my opponents don't want to kick anymore because it hurt.
Not a problem.
If you have a kicker and you take away their kick, they usually do not have a backup weapon that's as good as their kick.
พี่ตอนนี้มีสองอย่างดีมาก คือว่าเสือไล่มวย เป็นมวยต่อยยากแล้วตอนเนี้ยแต่มันจะเสียนิดเดียวเวลาไปอยู่ใน
He's saying this kind of fighter, a Muay Thai fighter who works elbows and knees together, is very difficult to fight.
เข้าใจไหมแบบนี้
Not only is it exhausting, but you stay in this range that people are really uncomfortable in.
ข้ามไปเลยอย่างเงี้ยเนี่ยข้ามไปเลยนี่
Sorry.
He's reminding me to put my hand, to float it and ride it on top of his hand.
เนี่ยถ้าแตะอย่างนี้ได้เลย
But look at how right here I am not at the range I want to be in. I have to step a little bit closer. See how he floats forward on that elbow?
ให้มืออยู่ข้างห
โอ้
รื
ย
บางทีหรือบางทีแล้วก้าวตบออกไปเตะก็ได้ไม่ต้องฟัน
He's telling me to step over. He's saying you don't have to elbow, just step over to the side.
ใช่
พอเราลูกเล่นข้างมันจะได้หลายอย่าง
นี่อย่างเดียว
So I just come straight all the time. It's no good. He's saying you have to learn this little pivot over to change angles and get into someone's blind spot.
ถ้าเราฉี่นอกได้ปุ๊บมันจะได้เปรียบเพราะเรามีศอกกับเข่าแต่ถ้าเราไม่ฟันศอกเราก็ขึ้นบนนี้ก็ได้
So he's saying you don't have to elbow. Even if your hand is floating on the top, you can just use it to slide up and grab the head.
เนี่ยมาเลยปั๊บ
ใช่
อย่าแตะลงดิอย่า
He's like, don't push my hand down.
ถ้าฟันอย่า
I
แตะ
cannot help myself. It has to just float over the top.
มือเขาแข็งเลยช่าง
When you feel it, you can feel it. But if you're not thinking about it, there's a very automatic, like, push the hand down, I think.
เอาทีนี้เตะไปเจ็บ
He's saying knee instead because my kicks don't hurt.
Not yet.
เตะเปลืองแรงตัวเอง แต่มันก็ใช้ได้คือถ้ามวยซ้ายนะสินี่จำไว้เลยนะเนี่ยเพราะเขาเตรียมตัวออกซ้าย
So this is if I'm left-handed and I'm fighting another left-handed fighter.
ออกหลังนี่เนี่ยอ่า
So see how, because he's standing southpaw, that's his open side, that front end there. It's very hard to guard on your jab side.
กลับไปอยู่หูกลับมา
เฮ้ย
ล็อกเข้าใจป่ะเนี่ยลักษณะนี้เนี่ยปั๊บนี่ใช่ไหมปั๊บมือ
Oh, look at his legs as he comes in. It's like a batter swinging or something. So pretty. So see how the hand just rests on top of his hand, and the elbow comes over the top. It like
เนี่ย
glides in.
เนี่ย
He's like, it's easy, you know?
เวลาฟันเนี่ยอย่าไปตบลงเลยนะครับ
He's like, if you push down, they're gonna go. It's no good, and it distorts your own elbow. This is where he shows me what I'm doing wrong. I'm pointing my elbow to the floor, so I have to lift it in order to elbow, and it comes at the wrong angle. If I bring my elbow up a little bit first, there's no wind up.
เพราะเวลาเราฉี่เราตั้งอย่างนี้นะแต่ทีนี้มัน
See his elbow.
มันต้อง
If you point it down, you have to take 2 steps.
มันจะอยู่
See how it's now pointed kind of out
อ่า
towards us? Oh.
เนี่ยทีนี้เอาเนี่ยมันต้องเนี่ย
Just lift it a little bit.
Ah, that's why I go like this all the time.
Because it's low. Yeah.
เนี่ยปั๊บเห็นไหม
Oh.
มันแรงด้วยมันจังหวะเดียวด้วยพอทีนี้ตั้ง
He said it's for power, but it's also for
ตั้ง
rhythm.
สองนี้นะ
The timing is better because you don't have to do 2 separate steps.
Also, they can see it earlier if
Yeah.
it's low.
Yeah.
They see it come up.
เนี่ยคือว่าตั้งไว้นี่ปั๊บได้เลยปั๊บได้
Oh.
สวยด้วยลึกกว่าเดิม
He liked that one. He's like, it was also beautiful.
เนี่ยปั๊บคล่องกว่าเดิม
Oh.
รู้สึกว่ามันกระชับกว่าเดิม
He's like, can you feel it? And I can totally feel it. It just kind of
มันต้องยกขึ้นมา
goes into its little slot. Like that's where the elbow wants to go when you bring up the elbow a little bit first.
นะ
Mm. Pretty.
ก็จะสังเกตดูหลายทีเลยทำไมเป็นอย่างนี้นะ
Just a slight difference. Like you don't want to like wind up and you don't want to bring your elbow too high. You just kind of angle it.
ก็นี่เขาบอกว่าเป็นมวยโซกว่า
แต่ว่านั้นน่ะ
ไม่สวย
I'm asking him about modern elbow fighters, and there just really aren't any like him.
เพราะว่าเท่าไหร่ก็
There's never been anyone like him, really.
เกี่ยวกับเราใช่ไหม
I'm talking about Muay Thai, who they've called the modern elbow hunter. He only has 2 elbows. He basically messes with someone's front guard. He pushes it from the outside so that they start popping their arms wide, and then he comes up the middle. Or he'll come inside and pop their arms out so that they start squeezing in, and then he comes to the outside. It's very clever. Like, it works on almost everyone, but he only has 2 elbows. Yodkhunpon has, like, an elbow from every direction
ครับ
all the time. He can throw from any distance. It's insane how he just can elbow from anywhere.
เพราะเรามวยเข่าเพราะบางทีเนี่ยทีมที่ต้องคำนอกเขาเพราะที่เขาจะฟันแล้วเราก็ปัด
So see how my hand's on the outside?
ปัดออกนิดนึง
If he tries to elbow up, I can just push him over with my hand on the outside. So not only do I want my hand on the outside so that I can elbow, but I can disturb his elbow if he tries to come
He only has 2 elbows
inside.
like this, but he's saying that when you come with just that front one, you can just push it off.
ถ้าอย่างถ้าผมเดินนะผมเดิน
So he was saying that he was going to walk, and then he's like, no, that's not when you would throw an upward elbow. It's when your opponent is walking. So he tells me to come forward. This is when you throw the upward elbows, when your opponent is coming towards you. So I'm coming. He's going to throw the upward elbow, but my hand's on the outside. So I just have to slightly push it over.
นิดเดียว
Like there's no way.
นิดเดียวมันต้องเล่นต้องซ้อม
It's the same thing he's been working with me on in this whole session, of just kind of guiding the arms to the outside so that I can pivot over.
เนี่ยกลับมาเนี่ยปั๊บปั๊บ
The timing was off on that one, but it's pretty easy to feel when someone's coming and just kind of guide them over as long as I keep my hands on their hands. If we're not touching, I might not be able to sense when that elbow's coming and it might come up.
ฟันอย่างนี้ปั๊บปั๊บแช่
But see how he just,
เพราะมันอยู่ที่
he's like, nope, just guides it over.
ที่มันหลบอยู่ที่ขาเราข้างนะ
ใช่
บางทีเขายังไม่ฟันหรอกเราก้าวหนีไปก่อนเพราะเรารู้เนี่ยมันจะฟันเราใช่ไหม
He said, I know when you're going to elbow. I can feel it. So I have an opponent named Nang Hong who basically just waits for me to come and only wants that upward elbow because she cut me one time. It's the only time I've lost to her is that time she cut me. But so now she just tries to elbow all the time, but it's that same elbow. So even if I'm the one walking and she's just waiting to do that one elbow, you just shove it over to the sides, no
ม
problem.
วยอย่างนี้ถ้าพวกมวยสองพันล็อกคอล็อกแขน
ใช่
So he's saying if there's someone who's an elbow fighter, everyone wants to lock their arms like this. Can't elbow. Cannot elbow if you've got their arms.
ถอดแขนออกไปถอดมือนี้ออกไปถอดมือ
He's
นี้
like-
ถอดออกไปถอดได้
he's like, come out.
ดึงไปดึงไป
I'm like, how?
ดึงแขนออกไปดึง
So I try to slide out,
ปั๊บเปลี่ยน
and he just switches sides. Now my other arm's locked.
ดึงไปดึงไปปั๊บเปลี่ยน
Blian, blian. Dieselnoy did that to Samart. Samart even commented on it. He was like, you locked my arms back and forth every second. But Yodkhunpon is like, people tried to do this to me because I was the elbow hunter, but you can't lock my arms. So I'm like, well, what did you do? Like, why can't people lock you?
I don't care
He's like, I don't care if you lock my elbow. Slips out, elbow's already. No time to switch.
He put his head here to create space. Yeah.
ถ้ามาล็อกแขนนี่งามเลย
It's a nightmare.
ได้ไหมล่ะ
ไม่เอาสูตรยกเป็น
I don't want to fight Yodkhunpon.